Nachimi Palestine. Friends and comrades, I'm very pleased to be here with you today on behalf of Éirígí in support and in defence of Palestinian prisoners. It is an honour. There is a strong tradition of solidarity between Irish Republicans and Palestinians, especially when it comes to the issue of prisoners. The histories of both Ireland and Palestine are replete with the suffering of those imprisoned for their political beliefs and for resisting occupation. That political prisoners have been and continue to be a feature of the political life of Palestine and Ireland is emblematic of the failed nature of attempts to pacify an occupied people. Estimates vary, but it is believed to be the case that there are currently somewhere between 7,000 and 10,000 Palestinian men, women and children in Israeli prisons, including 280 so-called administrative detainees who have in effect been interned without trial. These Palestinian prisoners are symbolic of the fate of all Palestinians who are forced to live in conditions that have seen the occupied Palestinian territories themselves likened to a mega prison. Very few Palestinians have escaped contact, either direct or indirect, with the mechanisms and machinery of the prison system aspect of the Israeli occupation. Since 1967, over 700,000 Palestinians have been detained, totaling approximately 20% of the total Palestinian population remaining within the occupied Palestinian territories. The majority of those detained have been overwhelmingly male, meaning that the number constitutes approximately 40% of the total male Palestinian population in the occupied Palestinian territory area. Those who are actually convicted were subjected to Israeli military law, in which they were tried in a non-jury military court. Military law is being applied to a whole population because what the occupation is a military occupation whose policy it is to punish a whole people collectively. According to the Israeli human rights group B'Tselem, up to 85% of Palestinian prisoners have been subjected to torture. Methods of torture in these instances have included sleep deprivation, tying a detainee to a chair in painful positions, beating, slapping, kicking, threats, verbal abuse and humiliation, bending the body in extremely painful positions, intentional tightening of handcuffs, stepping on warm manacles, application of pressure to different parts of the body, waterboarding, forcing the detainee to squat in painful positions, choking and other forms of violence and humiliation, spitting and pulling hair, solitary confinement, exposure to extreme heat and cold, continuous exposure to artificial light and containment in what can be defined as nothing other than inhuman conditions. This system of political internment and torture makes a mockery of all notions of justice and of the Israeli state's facade of liberal democracy. A clear message must be sent to the Israeli government and its allies that the world has not forgotten about the Palestinians, that the rights of an entire people cannot be trampled upon, and that Israel's pretense of being an ordinary democratic state will be challenged at every turn. Before I conclude, I would briefly like to draw your attention to the case of Ahmad Sadat, General Secretary of the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine. Comrade Sadat was abducted by the Palestinian Authority in January 2002 at the behest of Israel and imprisoned without trial. In March 2006, Israeli forces laid siege to the prison before kidnapping Sadat and 5 of his comrades. Sadat, who is a member of the Palestinian Legislative Council, was finally tried by the Israeli state in the summer of 2008, and on December 25, 2008, he was sentenced to 30 years imprisonment. He was convicted of membership of a prohibited organisation, to wit, the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, of holding a post in a prohibited organisation, and incitement for a speech he gave following the Israeli assassination of his predecessor, Abu Ali Mustafa, in August 2001. On behalf of Éirígí, I would like to take this opportunity to extend solidarity and fraternal greetings to Comrade Sadat. Comrades, while it is very important for us to show solidarity to Palestinian prisoners, and days like today are particularly important in that regard, What is far more important is for us to realise that we must work together in whatever way we can to support and assist the Palestinian resistance and help end the occupation. There is no other way to end the crime of occupation. There is no other way to end the scourge of Palestinians being imprisoned in such numbers. Gurmagov.